The backyard was crowded with relatives I saw once a year. Uncle Mike was manning the grill. Aunt Teresa had brought her famous potato salad. Cousins ran around playing tag while adults clustered in conversation groups, catching up on a year's worth of life updates. I stood near the beverage table in my new dress, navy blue, purchased specifically for this reunion. I'd driven 3 hours to be here, to participate in the annual family gathering at my parents' house. My sister Vanessa arrived late with her husband and 3 kids. She swept through the yard like she owned it, hugging relatives, laughing loudly, making sure everyone noticed her arrival. She glanced at me once, didn't smile, didn't wave, just looked through me like I was part of the furniture. Her 7-year-old daughter Sophie ran straight to the juice table where I was standing. She grabbed a cup of red fruit punch, looked directly at me, and before I could react, threw it. The juice hit my dress, my chest, my face, cold and sticky. The bright red spread across the navy fabric like blood. The backyard went silent for exactly 2 seconds. Then Sophie shouted at the top of her lungs, "Mom says you're not really family. Mom says you're just someone Grandma and Grandpa took in." The silence shattered into laughter. Not uncomfortable chuckles, real laughter. Uncle Mike laughed so hard he nearly dropped his spatula. Aunt Teresa covered her mouth, but her shoulders shook. My cousins exchanged glances and grinned. Vanessa stood near the patio, arms crossed, smiling, not stopping her daughter, not apologizing, just smiling like Sophie had told a hilarious joke. I stood there, juice dripping down my dress, feeling 30 pairs of eyes on me. I grabbed a napkin from the table, dabbed at my dress calmly, and looked at Sophie, who was watching me with Vanessa's same satisfied expression. I smiled. Accidents happen. Then I walked to my car, got in, and drove away. I didn't say goodbye, didn't make a scene, just left. The 3-hour drive home gave me plenty of time to think. I'd been adopted at age 4. My biological parents had died in a car accident. My mother's college roommate, the woman I called Mom, and her husband had taken me in. They raised me alongside their biological daughter, Vanessa, who was 2 years older. Growing up, Vanessa made sure I knew the difference. She was real family. I was the charity case. She got Mom's nose, Dad's eyes, Grandma's musical talent. I got pity and tolerance. When we were teenagers, she introduced me to her friends as the girl my parents adopted. Not her sister, never her sister. When I graduated college with honors, she told relatives I'd had an easier path because colleges loved diversity stories. Never mind that I'd worked 2 jobs to pay for what scholarships didn't cover. When I bought my first house at 28, she mentioned loudly at Thanksgiving that some people got lucky with tech jobs. Never mind that I'd spent years building my career as a software engineer, earning every promotion through documented performance. And when she needed a mortgage guarantor 3 years ago, when her credit was trashed from overspending and her husband's income wasn't enough to qualify for the loan they wanted, she asked me for help. Actually, she had Mom ask me, "Vanessa needs this. You're doing so well. Family helps family." I hesitated. We weren't close. She'd spent our entire childhood making sure I knew I didn't really belong. But Mom asked, and Dad asked, and Vanessa actually called me herself, her voice uncharacteristically humble. "Please, we found the perfect house. The kids need a yard. We just need someone to co-sign. Our credit will improve. We'll refinance in a year." I signed, not as a co-signer, but as a guarantor. My credit, my assets, my financial standing backing their $340,000 mortgage. They made payments for 6 months. Then they started being late. Then they missed one entirely. The bank called me. I covered it to protect my credit score. Vanessa swore she'd pay me back. Over 3 years, I covered 11 missed payments, $8,200 of my own money. Money I never saw again. Every time she had an excuse. The kids needed dental work. The car needed repairs. Her husband's commission check was late. Always something. And at every family gathering, she found ways to remind everyone that I wasn't really one of them. I arrived home at 9 o'clock that evening, threw my ruined dress in the trash, took a long shower to wash off the sticky juice and the humiliation. Then I opened my laptop and pulled up my mortgage documents. The guarantee agreement had a termination clause. I'd made sure of it when I signed. I could withdraw as guarantor with written notice, which would trigger an immediate review of the loan. Since Vanessa and her husband couldn't qualify without a guarantor, the bank would demand immediate restructuring or payment in full. I drafted the termination letter, attached all documentation of the missed payments I covered, and sent it to the bank's mortgage department with copies to 3 different supervisors. Then I called the bank's 24-hour line and spoke to a duty manager, confirmed my identity, confirmed my termination of the guarantee, confirmed I understood this would trigger default proceedings. We'll contact the borrowers first thing Monday morning, the manager said. They'll have 30 days to provide an alternative guarantor or restructure the loan. Without either, we'll begin foreclosure proceedings. Understood, thank you. I hung up and went to bed. Monday morning, my phone started ringing at 7:15, Vanessa's number. I was getting dressed for work, so I let it ring. She called again and again. By 7:30, I had 9 missed calls. Then someone started pounding on my front door, aggressive, urgent pounding that echoed through my house. I looked through the peephole. Vanessa stood on my porch in sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt, no makeup, hair uncombed. Her face was red and blotchy. Behind her, I could see her husband sitting in their car in my driveway, phone pressed to his ear. I opened the door. She looked worse up close. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Her hands were shaking. She was holding her phone in one hand and a paper in the other. What did you do? Her voice cracked. The bank called at 7 this morning. They said our mortgage guarantee was terminated. They said we're in default. They said we have 30 days to pay $340,000 or find a new guarantor, or they're foreclosing. What did you do? I leaned against my doorframe. I withdrew my guarantee. It's in the contract. I have the right to terminate with notice. You can't do this. We have 3 kids. Where are we supposed to go? I don't know. That's not my problem. Not your problem. You're destroying my family. I'm withdrawing financial support that you took for granted while teaching your daughter that I'm not really family. You can't have it both ways, Vanessa. That was just Sophie being the kid. She didn't understand. She understood perfectly. She repeated exactly what you told her, that I'm not really family, that I'm just someone Grandma and Grandpa took in. She threw juice on me in front of 30 people, and everyone laughed, including you. You stood there smiling while your daughter humiliated me. I didn't tell her to throw juice. But you told her I'm not really family. You've been telling her that her whole life, just like you told me my whole life. And while you were busy making sure everyone knew I didn't really belong, I was guaranteeing your mortgage. I was covering your missed payments, $8,200 over 3 years, Vanessa. Money you never paid back. Money you never even acknowledged. Her husband got out of the car and walked up behind her. This is insane. You're going to make our kids homeless over a stupid comment? I'm not making anyone homeless. I'm stopping enabling you. You bought a house you couldn't afford. You needed my credit to qualify. You've been chronically late with payments and I've been covering them. That ends now. Vanessa's voice went shrill. Mom and Dad are going to hear about this. They already know. I sent them a copy of the termination letter last night. That stopped her. You? What? I wanted them to understand why I'm doing this. I included documentation of all the payments I've covered, all the times you called them instead of me when rent was due, and all the family gatherings where you made sure everyone knew I wasn't really one of you. Her husband grabbed her arm. Come on, we need to call the bank, figure out our options. Vanessa jerked away from him, her eyes wild. You can't do this. You're family. I looked at her, this woman who'd spent our entire lives making sure I knew I wasn't, and felt something settle in my chest. No, Vanessa, according to you, I'm not. I'm just someone your parents took in, not really family, remember? That's what you told Sophie. That's what you've been telling everyone for years. So why would I guarantee a mortgage for someone who's not really my family? I didn't mean it like that. You meant it exactly like that. You've meant it our entire lives. You just didn't think there would be consequences. Please, she was crying now, mascara-less tears running down her face. We'll lose everything. The kids will have to change schools. We'll have to move in with my in-laws. Please, I'm sorry about the juice. I'm sorry about what Sophie said. Just fix this. I can't fix it, even if I wanted to, which I don't. I've already terminated the guarantee. It's done. The bank processed it. You'll need to find another guarantor, restructure, or sell. Who else is going to guarantee a mortgage for us? We have terrible credit. Then maybe you should have treated the person who did guarantee it with basic respect. Maybe you shouldn't have taught your daughter to throw juice on me and announce I'm not really family in front of everyone we know. Her husband pulled her away from my door. We're leaving. This isn't working. We need to focus on solutions. Vanessa looked back at me as he guided her to the car. You're really doing this? You're really going to destroy us? I'm not destroying anything. I'm just no longer holding it up. There's a difference. They drove away. I closed my door, finished getting ready for work, and left for the office. By noon, my phone had blown up. Mom had called 6 times, Dad 3 times, Aunt Teresa twice, Uncle Mike once. Various cousins had texted, asking what was happening. The family group chat was exploding with messages. I'd been removed from it at some point that morning, but my parents forwarded me screenshots. Vanessa had posted, "Some people show their true colors when you need them most. Family is supposed to stick together, but apparently some people only care about revenge." The responses were mixed. Some people sympathized with her. Others asked what had actually happened. A few asked pointed questions about the mortgage guarantee they hadn't known about. My mother called again. I answered this time. "What have you done?" Her voice was tight. "Vanessa is hysterical. She's going to lose her house. She's going to lose the house I've been helping her pay for while she treated me like an outsider at every family gathering. She didn't mean anything by that. That's just sibling rivalry." Sibling rivalry is fighting over toys or competing for attention. What Vanessa did was spend 28 years making sure everyone knew I didn't really belong. And I spent 3 years covering $8,000 of her missed mortgage payments while she did it. That's not rivalry. That's me being taken for granted. She has children. You're hurting innocent kids. Those innocent kids watched their mother encourage their sister to publicly humiliate me. Safi is 7 years old, and she already knows that Aunt Whoever isn't real family. That's what Vanessa is teaching them. I'm just no longer financially supporting it. You're being cruel. I'm being consistent. She said I'm not really family. Fine, then she doesn't get family support. Simple. This isn't how family works. You're right. In real families, people don't tell adopted children they don't belong. They don't laugh when their kids throw juice on their siblings. They don't take $8,000 of covered payments without acknowledgement or gratitude. But this is how our family works, apparently. So I'm opting out of the financial participation while keeping the emotional distance Vanessa has insisted on our entire lives. Mom hung up without saying goodbye. Over the next week, the pressure intensified. Dad called, asking me to reconsider. Vanessa's husband called, offering to set up a payment plan for the money they owed me. Aunt Teresa called, saying I was being vindictive. I didn't budge. Vanessa had 30 days to find a new guarantor or restructure the loan. She tried her in-laws. They didn't have sufficient credit. She tried her husband's brother. He refused after hearing the full story. She tried a private lending company. The rates were predatory, and she couldn't afford them. On day 28, she called me one last time. Her voice was flat, defeated. "We're selling. We found a buyer. We'll close in 60 days. The bank agreed to extend that far since we have a contract. We're moving in with my in-laws until we can save for something smaller." "Okay, I just want you to know that you destroyed my family." "No, Vanessa, I stopped propping up your family while you denied I was part of mine. There's a difference." She hung up. They sold the house 6 weeks later and moved into her in-laws' basement. The kids changed schools. Vanessa took a part-time job to help save for a new down payment. At party, I wasn't invited to the family gathering. Mom sent me a text. "Vanessa isn't comfortable with you there. Maybe next year." I spent party with friends, people who chose me, not out of obligation or pity, but because they actually wanted me there. I don't miss the family reunions. I don't miss the subtle reminders that I'm not really one of them. I don't miss covering Vanessa's payments or swallowing my pride while she redefines family in ways that exclude me. Sometimes people ask if I regret it, if I feel guilty about the kids losing their house, their school, their stability. I don't. Because I learned something important. Being family isn't about biology, legal papers, or who took you in when you were 4 years old. It's about who shows up, who values you, who treats you like you matter. Vanessa had 3 years to treat me like family. She chose instead to make sure everyone knew I wasn't. I just made her financially consistent with her emotional truth. She said I wasn't really family. I believed her. And families don't guarantee mortgages for people who aren't really family. Simple as that.